In this lecture, we will discuss data visualization. Data visualization involves creating a summary table for the data and generating charts to help interpret, analyze, and learn from the data. Uses of data visualization includes helpful for identifying data errors, and it reduces the size of your dataset by highlighting important relationships and trends in the data. Overview of data visualization, we will cover here, and you will understand some effective design techniques. The data ink ratio measures the proportion of what Tufte terms data ink to the total amount of ink used in a table or chart. Edward R. Tufte first described the data ink ratio. This is helpful for creating effective tables and charts for data visualization. Data ink Ink is used in a table or chart that is necessary to convey the meaning of the data to the audience. In non-data ink, ink is used in a table or chart that serves no useful purpose in conveying the data to the audience. Let us consider the case of Gossamer Industries, a firm that produces fine silk clothing products. Gossamer is interested in tracking the sales of one of its most popular items, a particular style of women's scarf. Table 3.1 and Figure 3.3 provide examples of the table and chart with low data ink ratios used to display sales of this style of women's scarf. The data used in this table and figure represent product sales by day. Table 3.2 shows a modified table in which all grid lines have been deleted except for those around the title of the table. Deleting the grid lines in Table 3.1 increases the data ink ratio because a larger proportion of the ink used in the table is used to convey the information or the actual numbers. Similarly, deleting the unnecessary horizontal lines in Figure 3.4 increases the data ink ratio. Next, let's cover tables. Design or table design principles, cross tabulation, pivot tables in Excel, and recommended pivot table in Excel. Tables should be used when the reader needs to refer to specific numerical values. Second, the reader needs to make precise comparisons between different values and not just relative comparisons. Third, the values being displayed have different units or very different magnitudes. Consider when the accounting department of Gossamer Industries is summarizing the company's annual data for completion of its federal tax forms. In this case, the specific numbers corresponding to revenues and expenses are important and not just the relative values. Therefore, this data should be presented in a table similar to Table 3.3. Similarly, if it is important to know exactly by how much revenues exceed expenses each month, then this would also be better presented as a table rather than as a line chart, as seen in Figure 3.5. Figure 3.6 allows the reader to easily see the monthly changes in revenues and costs while also being able to refer to the exact numerical values. Costs and revenues are measured in dollars, but headcount is measured in number of employees. Although all these values can be displayed on a line chart using multiple vertical axes, this is generally not recommended. because the values have widely different magnitudes. Costs and revenues are in the tens of thousands, whereas headcount is approximately 10 each month. It would be different to interpret changes on a single chart. Therefore, a table similar to 3.4 is recommended. Table design principles. Avoid using vertical lines in a table unless they are necessary for clarity. Horizontal lines are generally necessary only for separating column titles from data values or when indicating that a calculation has taken place. Figure 3.7 compares several forms of a table displaying Gossamer's cost and revenue data. Most people find the sign D with the fewest grid lines easiest to read. In this table, grid lines are used only to separate the column headings from the data and to indicate that the calculation has occurred to generate the profits row and the total column. Table 3.5 breaks out the revenue data by location for 9 cities and shows 12 months of revenue and cost data. Every other column has been lightly shaded. This helps the reader quickly scan the table to see which values correspond with each month. The horizontal line between the revenue for Academy and the total row helps the reader differentiate the revenue data for each location and indicates that the calculation has taken place to generate the totals by month. Columns of numerical values in a table should be right aligned. This makes it easy to see differences in the magnitude of values. If you're showing digits to the right of the decimal point, all values should include the same number of digits to the right of the decimal. It is generally best to left align text values within a column in a table, as in the revenues by location, the first column of table 3.5. Column headings should either match the alignment of the data in the columns or be centered over the values, as in this shown in this table.